Hey, welcome to Tanesia's Locks, Beauty Tips, and Potpourri. You are with Tanesia Ali, and I am happy to be here, and I'm even happier that you have taken the time out of your day to spend some of it with me. Welcome, beautiful butterflies and perfect people. We are talking today about the costs associated with Sisterlocks. You might find that some people are easy to talk about the costs associated with Sisterlocks, and some people are not as comfortable. And that can be for any number of reasons. For some of us, some people feel ashamed about how much money they might have put into these Sisterlocks. Other people feel some kind of way about if they didn't pay as much, maybe they didn't get as good a job. I don't know. I have no problems talking about how much my Sisterlocks cost. And I also wanted to share with you some of the information that I've gleaned on this channel since I started it as it relates to the maximum amount that some people are paying for these locks. Now, before I even get into this discussion, I'm going to say to you that even at some of the most outrageous rates, if I look back over the 8 years, what I've gotten from these locks, they've more than paid for themselves. And I paid one of the cheaper rates, I think, or I paid a very economical rate. If I had paid $1,500 at this point, would I still think that it was worth it? I'm going to say yes. I got 8 chats for WhatsApp. I hope that's not my daughter. Yeah, she's sending me photos. Y'all know she's in Italy. She was ditched in Italy, but that's okay. It would still have been worth it to me if I had paid $1,500, $1,600, $1,700. At the time, I would have thought it was outrageous, and I would have said, heck to the no. Hell to the no. That's what young people say, right? Hell to the no. I would have said hell to the no, and I never would have done it probably, but in looking back in hindsight, which is 2020, it would have still been worth it for any number of reasons. It's an investment in you. It's a chance for you to develop a level of freedom of thought, freedom of being, freedom in so many ways that you may have never considered. It's an opportunity for you to grow spiritually beyond what all of this is. It's an opportunity for you to be more of yourself. And over the long term, I believe Sisterlocks are going to save you money. They're going to save you money. I'm going to tell you that. If you are someone that wears wigs, buys weaves, uses a lot of product, is at the hair salon all the time, it's going to save you money. Now, I wasn't someone who did that anyway. I can actually count the times on one hand that I've been to a hair salon. Maybe 4 times, 5 times. I did have a lady do a weave for me once. I got a cut. When I was 11 or 12, this chick straightened my hair, and then I went to another salon, a chick on my bus. Well, I'm trying to remember all the times. 4, I'm going to say maybe 6, 7, 8 times at the max. So it's going to be worth it to you anyway, regardless of what you do. But let's get down and dig into the costs. Number one, the first cost associated with you getting your Sisterlocks has to do with your consultation. Now, your consultation is going to cost you anywhere from $25 on up, depending upon what you get along with your consultation. Sometimes your loctician consultant will take that fee off of the fee that you pay when you actually get your locks done. But the consult does have a cost to it, and generally it'll start at about $25. It varies from region to region, from loctician to loctician. Number 2, the second cost associated with you getting your Sisterlocks has to do with the install. This is a juicy. This is where we get into the nitty-gritty. Now, most loctician consultants will charge a base rate based on the number of inches of your hair. Okay, and then they will go up a certain amount of money for each additional inch. For example, my loctician, Ifraj Suad, in the Atlanta area, charged me $450 at the start, and then I paid an additional $50 for each additional inch. Now, I ended up paying $300. I ended up paying an additional $300 because of the length of my hair. So you can say that was an additional 6 inches on top of the 4 to 5 or the 4 to 6 inches that I had going in. So some loctician consultants, the majority of them will do it like that. Some have some subtleties based on how much volume and thickness your hair has and how long they think it's going to take. They can actually add something on to that. Some will add additional monies to cover you coming back for what some say is supposed to be the first free retightening. It depends, and it really does vary. But there is usually a base price, and you will pay some amount for each install. Now, I paid $750 On this channel, I've had people tell me they've paid as much as $2,600. I've heard $2,100 more than one time. That can depend on whether you're seeing a trainee, a consultant, the region that you live in, the geographically undesirable regions, obviously, where the supply the supply of consultants is low and the demand is high. You're going to pay a pretty penny for these locks. It can have to do with even whether or not your person is an ambassador, which is another title that has been introduced into the community within the more recent past. All of these things can affect the price, and with the install, you need to also add in to the other costs, like traveling. If you're having to travel a ways, or some people may travel to get to a specific geographic zone and may say, okay, well, I go to Timbuktu to see my grandmother every 7 to 8 weeks, so I'm going to pick a loctician consultant in Timbuktu. It just depends. So that's the second consideration you need to give to the cost. The third consideration you need to give to the cost are retightenings. Now, retightenings can be anywhere from per hour to a flat fee. They can range from, depending upon how long you wait, the number of weeks that you didn't do what your loctician told you to, when she told you to get your butt in there from week 6 to 8, and you decided to wait until 10, 11, 12 weeks, she could charge you more. Mine don't. They are so wonderful. But I did notice my last price did go up some, and I think that's because my loctician moved into a shop, and it didn't make a difference to me. I deal with 2 anyway. But anyway, so for example, with one of them, I paid $50 per hour and then $15 each additional hour. Typically, it takes me between 3.5 and 4.5 hours, so I have gotten in the habit of just paying a straight $140. And if we go a little longer, a $150, which is rare, but a straight $140, generally speaking, every time I go get mine done. Now, you guys know I'm on about a 10 to 12 week cycle with my locks anyway. Now, the other loctician was charging me a flat $125. Although the very last time I went to her, now that she's moved into a shop, some things have changed. Everything is digital. I did pay $140. Did I mind? No. My locticians, I love them. They're on their feet for that number of hours. And when you consider that, you're only looking at about $30, $35 an hour. Okay. That's not a lot of money. So I'm not going to complain for that, because that's not a lot, depending upon the wear and tear on your body and a multitude of other things. Dealing with people's hair, having to deal with their energy and all of that stuff. So that's something that you really have to consider. The retightenings will be happening for the average person, I hear, from about 6 to 8 weeks. Okay, 8 to 10, probably on the lengthier side. Some women are doing 4 to 6 weeks. I have my own point of view about the frequency of these things, but you need to know what your loctician is suggesting for you. And if she suggests up front 4 to 6 weeks, you need to ask her, at what point in this dynamic am I going to be able to stretch it out to 8 weeks? It just depends. Everybody's different. My locticians don't give me any heat about that sort of thing, so I'm lucky. I'm one of the lucky ones. The third cost that you need to be considering when you are talking about considering Sisterlocks or have made the decision to get them is the cost that could be associated, an unintended consequence, of course, or an unintended cost, of course, is the cost of having a bad install. The cost of being in a situation, because having had this channel, I had no idea of the litany of horrific and mortifying experiences that my dear sisters and brethren have had, mostly sisters, in an effort to get Sisterlocks. And not that it's been always by people who said they were giving them Sisterlocks and they weren't really getting Sisterlocks, but by certified, consultants or even trainees having disaster-like experiences. So, word to the wise, do your research. But what I'm saying is, if you get Sisterlocks that you are not satisfied with, and you need to really watch my video on the things to do to prepare for your install, or the things you need to do as you research a loctician. Don't take for granted that you know everything that might come in handy, or that it's not going to happen to you. Because when you least expect it to happen is when it'll happen. And it's buyer beware, just like anything else that we do. This is a huge investment. Don't take any shortcuts. If you get a bad install and you have to take these things down, number one, the cost associated with the time and effort, even if the person was going to redo them for free, which is not common. All right. Let's say you can't come to an accord with your loctician, with your consultant, and then you have to take these things down. Then you got to go find somebody else to do them. It can be a horrible situation. So do your due diligence. You don't want a situation where you haven't selected the best person to do your locks, you haven't seen their work, and then you end up in a situation where you got a bad install and that was something you never thought would become an expense. The fifth and final cost that I'm going to delineate today that has to do with you and your Sisterlocks journey has to do with something very small. It's not a big deal, but the styling and the tools and the other things that may come up as you go throughout this journey. These are minutia. These are not big expenses. They're not going to drain your wallet, but they're things you may want to consider anyway. Some people like to go to their locticians to have their locks styled. Believe it or not, everybody isn't a do-it-yourselfer. Some people wouldn't do this, or they wouldn't want to do this. Maybe they have a laminectomy and they can't be reaching up. Maybe they got carpal tunnel. You need to consider the cost of going to a stylist or loctician person, a Sisterlocks consultant, to have your locks styled or curled or washed or whatever. Some retightnings don't include a washing. It would be extra money. I always wash my hair before I go. I don't think mine include a retightening, but I always wash mine anyway. Other things like the lovely pipe cleaners, or maybe flexi rods, or maybe the lovely sponge rollers, anything that you might be using to care for your hair. I don't have these costly items, but when I make my essential oils, and I use oils for my overall health. I use them for a million different things, not just my hair. But usually in building my essential oil supply, there was an investment that went into what I was using essential oils for. I use them in my shampoos, and check out my Miracle shampoo on my channel. Also, I use it for my Miracle Grow synergistic blend. In addition to using it for various things like skin and like watch these two wrinkles start to disappear over the next few weeks. They were coming back a few weeks ago, putting my mad frankincense up there and those lines are disappearing. So I use these essential oils for a lot of different things. So determine the products that you may be using, determine the tools that you may be using for your hair. Remember, if you're going to be doing you're going to be a do-it-yourselfer and you need some extra you're going to be using the nappy lock tool, or maybe you're going to use a few plastic needles from Walmart, or maybe you're going to use some of these other tools out here to retighten. That's an expense too. Just consider the unexpected and have a budget for that going in at the very beginning. Satin caps, the Sisterlocks starter kit, how long you're going to be using the Sisterlocks starter kit. I don't remember how much that is. I want to say maybe 30, 40 bucks. I think I might have used it twice at the most. I think one time, and then I switched over to my own thing or something different, but I don't think I used it more than 2 times. But it's still a cost that you have to keep in mind. So those are the 5 costs that I have discussed that are associated, the more major costs that are associated with getting Sisterlocks. I hope that particular list of items helped you in some way, can help shed light on the things that you need to be prepared for as you go into the most enlightening journey of your life, the most freeing journey of your life, and as you get closer to the reality of who you truly are as someone who has embraced all of themselves and feels beautiful and looks beautiful and is beautiful from the inside out. You're with Tanisha Ali, Butterfly Transformations. If you are interested in spiritual mentoring, life coaching to help you move past the next big milestone, it may seem just a little bit impossible. If you know you need mental clarity, you need to understand what's happening in your life, you need to clear the blocks to your energy and your emotional space, or maybe you need to create wealth and develop prosperity consciousness. Maybe you need to get to a point in your life where you feel free and you step into your passion and your purpose, whatever it is, whether it's an Oracle Tarot reading, feel free to contact me. My information is in the notes at the end of the channel. I would love to see you. I'm glad to have seen you today, even though you may not think I can see you. I got skills, just jokes. But I'm glad you took the time to stop by the channel. I'm sending out love. I'm so grateful and I'm so appreciative to you. You have been a part of my provisions without even realizing it, and you have brought a wealth of wonderful experiences into my life. You have increased my my happiness rating. You have increased my happiness rating. This channel is a source of therapy for me, and it makes me feel good, and it brings me to life in a lot of ways. And I talk a little too much, and I'm really working on trying to shorten my videos. But if you tell me I talk too much, I might be a little offended. I might just block your comments. Just jokes, just jokes. But anyway, hope you benefited from the video. Go out, be prosperous, be abundant, change somebody's life, be peaceful and productive.